Hey folks, Julie Norman here with Julie Norman Yoga. I have a gentle yoga practice for you this video, about 20 minutes. Take some time to roll out your mat, grab a blanket for under your knees. We'll do some kneeling and low lunge work and a couple of yoga blocks and anything else that you find helps assist your practice. And let's begin with a centering. Hands to Kali Mudra with an open palm. Thumbs pointing up, first finger's pointing down. Settling into the first and second chakras, energy centers, earth and water. Step into the breath, intentionally breathing in through the nose and starting out through the mouth. Tune into your heart. Return to your body. Practice is a sacred space. Remember who you are, what you want, what you don't want. To heal. Set an intention for your practice. This can be a word, a phrase, an image, a feeling. What would you like to release or receive? Attention and your awareness, bring your hands to heart center. If you like, join me in chanting the sacred sound of Om to empower our intentions. Take a moment to empty the breath. And filling up. Hare Om, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May we be peace, peace, peace. Patiently transition into child's pose. Taking your time to move, feeling each little shift of body weight, of effort. You might want to use your blanket under your knees or behind your knees for less compression of the knee joint. I recommend taking the knees nice and wide. And we're going to actually work with extended child's pose. So walking the hands out. You may want a block under your forehead if your head doesn't really easily reach the ground. So starting with the elbows down on the mat, spread your fingers wide, and connect to the earth through your hands, through the tops of your feet, through your breath. And then the tailbone drop, anchor, be drawn to the ground by gravity. expand the breath, breathing in and out through the nose if possible. You may want to practice ujjayi breath, gently contracting the back of the throat for an ocean sound. And just so slowly hold the forehead on the earth. So an extended child's pose here. The forehead's on the ground or your block more than the hairline or top of the head. Even gaze in and up with the eyes, activating Ajna chakra, the third eye center. And come back to the middle and walk the hands forward a little wider and engage the arms up off the mat, pressing into your hands, but pushing back into the shoulders. So push into the hands so they kind of bring the shoulders back into home plate, like into the base, rather than the shoulder being shifted way forward. It's hugging back a bit. And sink a little more into your hips. So also pressing down into the hips, rounding the spine slightly. Maybe if your head's been on the block, you try without the block. So more engaged, more active. Lift the head, take the hands over to the side. If you're on a traditional yoga mat, you might want the one hand in the direction you're going towards, even off the mat, but keep a wider than shoulder distance space. So you don't want to get narrow with the hands. You're going to keep that activation, strong arms, pressing down and back into the hips. Lower your head towards the closed knee and sink the opposite hip back. So I'm twisting over to my left. Your head will probably just float. Relax the jaw. So I'm twisting or bending to my left. I'm gonna sink back in my right hip a little more. Keep the shoulders level with each other. Keep the arm you're reaching towards active. Lift the head, walk your way to the opposite side. Same idea. Activating through the hands, the arms, dropping the tailbone, flowing breath through the core of the body. And then make your way back to center. You're going to slowly claw the ground and pull yourself forward through your hands, walking the knees in under the hips. Remove your blanket or maybe put it under your knees if you prefer that. We're coming to table pose. Start with a big breath in, neutral spine. And then exhale, round and hold. Hold the breath out for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, neutral spine. Exhale, round. Maybe even come up tall on the fingertips. Press into the tops of the feet. Hold empty for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, neutral spine. One last time. Exhale, round, press your hands down and out. Feel the side ribs move away from each other. Tuck the chin, tailbone, empty. 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. Neutral spine. Exhale. Take your right leg back. Press into the toes. Press out through the heel. You can stay here or reach the left arm forward and up, also in an angle. So the Right toes are on the ground. Left thumb is gonna rise, so we have a nice diagonal line through the side body. Keep the shoulders and the hips level. Create space, stretch, forward and back. Awesome. Bring the left hand down, right knee back in. One round of cat-cow breath. Inhale, drop the belly. Lift and expand your heart. Lift and expand your sit bones. Exhale, round. Inhale, neutral spine. Exhale, send your left leg back. Reach through the heel. Don't let the hips roll open here. Anchor in the toes, even spreading the toes wide, feeling the ball joint of the foot. Pressing down in the top of the right foot to support the right knee. Stretch the right arm forward and up. So we're stabilizing here through the core. We don't want to twist this way or that way. Keeping things neutral, spine level. Little lift through the right arm, so you have that diagonal line matching the right limb. And then left limb. Release the hand down. Step in, cat-cow breath. Take your time, fill up completely. Exhale, release completely. Inhale, neutral spine. Exhale, child's pose, or turn the toes under. Press the hips back and lift to downward dog. Start with a bend in the knees. Find your neutral spine. Hug the belly towards the spine as well. Just relax your head, that nice arm engagement, like we had an extended child's pose. And then if you like, walk the feet a little here. Returning to the breath. Again and again. Beautiful. We'll float back to table. So high on the toes. Slowly lower the knees. And rest back into a kneeling position. So this is a place you can, again, bring a blanket under the back of the knees. I'm going to come forward a little. Or you can sit on 1, 2, or even 2 blocks with a blanket. Hero's pose. So thighs are together. I'm going to come down a block. Thighs are together. Lower legs V out slightly. So the heels are next to the hip joints. If the tops of the feet struggle with this, there's a lot of tension, too much stretching, you can grab a rolled washcloth or some other little prop and just stick it under there, or taller up on 1 or 2 blocks. You can also turn the toes under. But once you're here, hand to the heart, hand to the low belly, and tune back into the breath. Feel ear, shoulder, hip joint alignment. Switch the placement of the hands, doing a little figure 8. Hand that was at the belly is now at the heart, and vice versa. Steady breath. This is a nice passive stretch for quads, helps align the knee joints properly, rests the hamstrings. Bring the hands around to the low back, pressing into the iliac crest, the top of the pelvis with the heels of your hands. Without arching the spine, gently draw the elbows towards each other, dropping the shoulders down, back, chin down, ears draw back. Release. I'm going to step into a low lunge position. I highly recommend using 2 tall blocks, at least to begin. So, blocks are wide. Again, a blanket is a great support. I'm still healing a little knee injury, so I'm going to use my folded blanket under my knees. Let's step the right leg forward first. And really plant the top of the left foot down, anchoring in, getting warm. I'll release my sweatshirt here. Right, wardrobe adjustments. Losing my head here. So, consider your neutral spine. Just a little hinge forward. Hips are squared instead of wonky side to side. Start with just right knee over right ankle. Fingertips tall in the blocks. You're as tall as can be here. Lengthen the heart up. Look forward and root. So press in the sole of the right foot. Press in the top of the back foot. Then isometrically hug your legs towards each other. Draw the lower belly in a little bit. Engage the pelvic floor. Hug the shoulder blades back towards each other just a bit more. Even that strong reach down through the fingertips, that gives us some anchor. It's really activating here. I'm going to walk the hands up to the thigh. Most everything else stays the same. I know you're going to lose me here, but hands overhead. I'm going to lose my head. Pressing prayer hands together. If it works for your body, sink a little forward with the pelvis into your low lunge. If it works for balance, look up, reaching the hands away from the heart. Full deep breaths. Beautiful. Look forward if you're looking up. Sweep the hands down to the blocks. Using your pelvic floor, I want you to pull back from here, from the base of your spine, from your low belly. Pull the hips back, which of course will straighten the front leg. Start with a bend there, keeping the ball joint of the front foot anchored down. It's going to want to draw up. Hips are also going to want to swing out to your left side. So try to prevent all that. Lengthen up tall. Draw the low belly in and just start to extend. So not only will we be working with some hamstring stretch, we might get some nice stretch down the front of the lower leg. So down. Tibula, fibula. Beautiful. Resist the urge to pull the foot back. Just experiencing the half split, Ardha Hanumanasana, just experiencing this a little differently. Beautiful. We'll come forward. Turn the back toes under. Lifting the back leg, reach back just like we did down in table pose. Right leg over, right knee over right ankle. Stretch the right arm forward and up like we did in table. Roll the left shoulder back. Keep the hips level. It's a nice straight line here. Shoulder, hips, ankle. Rather than, I don't want to see a dropping in the hips. If that's happening, take a little bend out of the front leg. So Expanding front to back, side to side, creating space. Breath is your number one tool. Awesome. Bring the right hand down. We're going to walk the back foot forward so you can get a little bit of pep in your step. Step it up, forward fold. Just hanging out here, just like downward dog. Start with a big bend in the knees. Release the upper body towards the thighs. And take a half lift, blocks next to the feet. Straighten the legs a little more. Find your neutral spine here. So parallel with the floor. Bring the hips so they're over the ankles. Shoulders draw back. Breath draws in full, complete. Empties thoroughly. Bend the knees and step your right leg back. Knee to the floor or your blanket. Anchor the top of the back foot. Beautiful. So, starting with that well-structured, super savvy, don't know where that word came from, super savvy low lunge, Ajanasana. So 90-degree angle in the front leg, there's a little wider angle in the back. Feet press into the ground, legs hug towards each other, tailbone drops, belly button lifts and draws in, neutral spine, so pull the low front ribs in, open the chest, look forward. Beautiful. Keep anchoring, hands up to the thigh, bring the shoulders back over the hips, reach up. Prayer hands press together firmly. Shift forward through the pelvis. Continue to anchor in the back foot. Make sure the knee goes straight ahead. Maybe take the head back so you're looking up through the heels of the hands. Bring this heart energy up. Forward, sweep the arms down, hinging. Take your time, pull back from the belly, from the pelvic floor. The hips tracking straight as if they were on train tracks. Keep the ball joint of the left foot anchored. Can you lift the toes to help with that? But keep the widest part of your foot pressing down. Nice and tall, neutral spine, press into the right foot. Soft on the right knee. Beautiful. Gently shifting forward. Step the blocks back up. Find your high lunge. Turn the back toes under. Lift the back thigh bone, press out through the heel, and you may even want to press the hands flat on the blocks. Certainly, again, you can be working from the floor, but kind of wanting to make sure we're lengthening the spine, finding ease in the shoulders, finding the opening in the lower body. So just nice to work with all the tools we have available to us. Lengthen forward, kind of spin the inseam of your back thigh in and up. There's this internal rotation. So you should feel the activation. The legs, the core, a bit in the upper body. Be intentional about where your neck is. A lot of times people are hanging their head or cranking, compressing the back of the neck long through your cervical spine. Beautiful. Let's get a little action here and step up. Forward fold. You might go right into legs a little straighter. Be intentional about, move back. Be intentional about bringing the hips in line over the ankles rather than hanging back. So blocks are handy here. Can help shift forward even though you're shifting forward. Think about the hip joint. So I got a little more real estate. So if you imagine my hip joint at the skeletal structure down to the ankle. Beautiful. Hang it out. Come into your half lift. Start to bend the knees. We're going to come down to the floor. So you can just step back with one leg to a little lunge again. Get yourself there. Other leg back. Come to a seated position. You can use your folded blanket to support yourself. And we're just going to end with a little mindful hip opener bound angle. So soles of the feet together. If you want to try adding a little more kind of intensity, a little more hip opening activation, only if your knees are in a happy place these days. You can try putting the edges of your feet, propping your feet up on a block. So I have both the blanket under my sit bones and I'm on the block. So it's kind of this floating bound angle pose. Start with the hands connected to the front of the ankles or shins. Mindful of neutral spine, so heart over the belly button. Those natural curves. You're going to look at your spine sideways, a little bit through the neck, a little concave, and then again the lower back, thoracic. Let the elbows drop down, even though you're anchoring, holding on to the lower legs. Let the elbows start to drop down, so you feel this lovely release over the head of the shoulders, maybe down through trapezius, sides of the neck. Without too much effort, drawing the shoulder blades together in the upper back, so you're expanding across the collarbones a bit more. And yes, we're going to fold forward here, but just starting with this lovely kind of heart center opening, then we'll go into second chakra opening. So when you're ready, start to hinge forward. Keep this lovely lifted upper body goodness as long as possible. I'm even going to hug my elbows in, press out into my inner thighs a bit. Say hello to my cleavage. You're welcome. They're just there. I love them. Can't quite find yoga tops these days to keep them at bay, and why should I? Feel free to adjust and make your way into the expression of the pose that works best for your practice today. Can certainly stay here longer. I'm noticing I'm already over my 20-minute promise, or 30 minutes. We'll go on up. When you step into the yoga world, If you're on the block, just release, coming to a comfortable seated posture again, back to where we started. And closing with hands at heart, remembering our intention. Certainly gift yourself more time and space here, continuing your practice intuitively, or come back to it. Sealing our practice in with the sound of Om, which also sends it out, shares it with the world. Empty the breath. Breathing in. Hari Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. We are peace.